Good evening to everyone. I'm today's host, Dharma assistant Long Ying from Brazil. And today's class will be part 1 of chapter 3 on the origins and merits of the food offering rite. And the lesson, as usual, will be conducted through 3 languages, taught in original Chinese and with English simultaneous interpretation, and also Indonesian interpretation, Indonesian interpretation by Dharma assistant Tu Zheng. And you can also watch the video replay of the lesson on YouTube or Facebook. And there will be, as usual, a Q&A segment at the end of the lesson. So if you have any questions, feel free to type your question and upload it in the Zoom chat or in the other channels, and it'll be collected by the backend team for Master Lian Wei to answer. And we welcome everyone's questions. So I see more and more students coming into the Zoom session. Please turn on your video camera and rename your profile so that the teaching master will be able to see you, and I can also say hi to you or greet you. And I see Dharma instructor Yi Cai and also Master Lian Wei, as well as our Indonesian interpreter, Dharma assistant Tu Zheng, and also many familiar faces, Dharma brother Lao Zhong, and let me greet the rest of the students, fellow students.
还有我们的建清师兄，建清师兄您好，还有莲地师姐是吗？您好，我们熟悉的上明师姐，阿弥陀佛，还有永才师姐和梅贤是吗？永才师兄、梅贤师姐，阿弥陀佛，我们的古文男助教您好，还有丽清师姐您好。还有很多的同门莲花俊元助教，您好，莲花慧玲助教，阿弥陀佛，莲花师姐，还有中观堂是集体开直播来收看我们的课程。莲庆师姐，您好，有我们熟悉的滋润助教，阿弥陀佛，龙城助教，阿弥陀佛，还有依云助教，依云助教你好。大家可以把您的名字改一下，也非常欢迎您方便的话打开您的摄像头。还有莲亭，是师姐还是法师还是师兄？阿弥陀佛。还有我们看到了艳玉师姐，艳玉师姐你好。好，我看到名字的有这一些我们接下来请我们已经进来的同学，大家可以在留言区打上888，欢迎我们来。
For the students who have entered the session, you can also type in 888 in the Zoom chat to welcome our teaching master, and we also welcome the TBF chairman, Master Chen Su, and also the TBF Education Department Director, Master Lian He, and all Pama Kumaras around the world. Welcome everyone to tonight's lesson. We are learning part 1 of chapter 3 today, which is about the origins and merits of the Dharma gate of food offering rites. And before starting the class, let's quieten our hearts so that we can pay full attention to the upcoming lesson. And from the previous lesson, have you mastered the chanting of Buddha
莲花
names
童子圣号、阿
and
弥陀佛圣号、
Pama
地藏
Kumara
王
heart
菩萨圣号、
mantra and
正觉
Kishigapa
忏法是
Bodhisattva's
否课后可
sacred
练
name.
习呢？
Did you
欢
practice
迎
after
到
the
留言
class?
区
Welcome you
打
to leave a message in the Zoom
我
chat.
们前一段时间学的都是实践课，除了课
And
堂上
what we
学
learned
习
in
完
the
之
past
后，
few lessons were
它更多的需
some
要
practical
我们
lessons,
去练习。
which require us to actually practice after the
下
class
面我跟大
to
家分享
learn
一下
fully.
我上节课
Let me
的
share
收获。
with everyone what I learned from the previous lesson.
上一节课，
During the last
根本上
lesson,
师在以阿弥陀
Root
佛
Guru
为主尊作为例子，为我们讲授了如何摄受
um,
一心
in
的
his
念佛。
teachings, he
念佛
mentioned
号
Amitabha Buddha as his idam,
就是这
and
个
he taught us
摄
the
受
key, which
一心。
is to
如何
absorb
这
our
样做的
minds
呢？
on one thought. How do we go
以
about
阿弥
doing
陀
that?
佛为主尊为
With
例，
Amitabha
先对着阿
Buddha
弥陀佛
as
的
the
长
idam, as
相
an
很
example,
认真的
face the image of
照见
Amitabha
它，
Buddha very
把
seriously
它
and observe
记清楚，
the
然后在
image,
照
imprint the
的
image
时
in your
候，
mind, and then in
把
an
自己本
instant,
身变成
transform yourself into Amitabha Buddha.
在走的时候，
And
心头
as you
存
walk,
在我就是阿
keep
弥
your
陀佛，
mind on I am
心上
Amitabha
然
Buddha,
后自己就是阿弥陀佛，
and
在路
you
上
are in the
走
form of Amitabha
边
Buddha.
念
And
佛
as
号，
you walk and
一
chant
边
Amitabha
想
Buddha's sacred
一
name,
边念，
you can
然后
visualize
在
while
念佛
walking
当中，
and
一
while
刹那之间
chanting
想念自
Buddha's
己就
name
是阿弥陀佛，
in an
然后一
instant.
直在与阿弥陀佛
Think of
保持
yourself
一
as
个持
Amitabha
续专注
Buddha
去
and
持。
experience that.
其他的祖尊也是一样的道理。这个方
And
法
it's the
是
same
最
principle
能够
for
摄
the
心
other
的，
deities,
把自
and
己
this
的
is the
心
same.
摄住。
This is
这
the
种念佛叫
way
做
to
修心
absorb
一念，
our
这是我
minds
上
on
节
one
课的
thought.
收获之一，
And
跟
this
大家
is
分
one
享。
of the things I learned
也
from the
欢迎
previous
大家
lesson.
把您的
We
收获
also
说
welcome everyone to share
留言
your
区
insights
留言。
or from the previous lesson and leave a message in the Zoom chat or the various channels.
上节课，莲位上师在讲授的莲花童子这个号词诵的时候，说的那个调
During the
是
previous
符
lesson,
号
Master
念
Lian
佛的
Wei
唱诵
taught
莲
us
花
some
童子，
basic melodies to
也可以用
chant
来
Buddha's
唱
sacred
其他
names,
的
which can also be
其
used
他的比
to
较容易
sing the sacred names of
号
other
词
Buddhas,
念
Bodhisattvas,
佛
or
的
deities, and
唱诵莲花童子的
Pamakumaras.
时候，第一句是
Um,
起音，后面任何一句它都可以
heart
随时
mantra.
收音。
There was one version where we can stop
这
at
是在我
any
们
melodic
实际
phrase
操作的过
of
程中，
that.
有些过程
During
会
the
忽略
actual
至
practice
少我们
of
没有
this
进行到
chant,
哪个部分，那
uh,
个动作已经完成了，就要准备收音了。这是短奏，短奏是后面4、2、3，任何一句它都可以收音。
the singing of the
在莲花
short
童子里
version
面，
of the heart mantra, we
它
can
是
stop at any melodic phrase,
低
and
音
for the
低音
long
收音的时候，一定是
mantra,
2音才可以收音。
we can only stop at the second melodic phrase and not at the first melodic phrase.
下面我们再次用热烈的掌声和
And
888
once again,
祝
let's
福
type
来自
in
欢迎我们的
888 to
师父
welcome
的
our teaching
释
master,
莲为
Master
为我们
Shi
授
Lian
课。
Wei, to teach today's class.
好，我们请大家先双手
Okay,
合
let's
十，
place our palms together
一心祈请
and
诸位
wholeheartedly
上
invoke
师
our lineage true guru, His Holiness Living Buddha
祖
Lian
宗
Sheng,
历代传承
the
者，
lineage gurus of True Buddha School,
坛泉三宝，
the deities
祈
of
请法
and triple
光加被。
jewel, the three jewels of the shrine. We pray for your
今
blessing
日
light,
授课吉祥圆满，
so that today's
结
lesson
缘
will be
续寿，
auspicious, perfect, and complete, and all the
世
other
间
students
昌
learning
隆
will
之神
be
力，
complete, form the Pamakumara Mudra and visualize our lineage tree guru, His Holiness Living Buddha Lian Sheng, dwelling above your crown to bless all of us. And reverently recite the Pamakumara mantra 7 times to pray for the great lineage blessing.
Om Guru Lian Shen Siddhi Ho. 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 好，上师、教授师、法师、
Okay, Master, Senior Reverends, Reverends, Dharma Instructors, Dharma Assistants, Dharma Siblings, good evening to everyone. So just now the host mentioned Kshigarba Bodhisattva's sacred name. The last time, if you saw the Dianban score, we didn't really have a lot of time, sufficient time. And if we teach it now, by the time we teach the yoga flaming mouth ritual, you might forget. So we will only teach the Kshigarba Bodhisattva's sacred name chant when we are going over that ritual procedure. So there's one point I didn't mention, which I will mention now. Do we chant it aloud or do we chant it quietly? If you mix it up, it will make a big difference in your cultivation. If you think you can recite it silently, type in 4 twos. If you think it's all okay, type in 3. And if everything is okay, type in 3333. If you need to chant it aloud, then type in 1111. Okay, so let's see everyone's response. People think it's most people answer either chant aloud or chant both aloud. But not so many people chant silently, because your mouth and your speech and mind need to be united. There are 4 methods: aloud, silently. The third is half loud, half silent. The fourth, like chanting mantras, true chanting. So theoretically, these 4 methods are usable. Let's first talk about the benefits of chanting aloud. We talked about chanting, so then people might think that we need to chant aloud. When we are reciting Buddha names aloud, you can combine it with your breathing, and it's vibrating our qi and channels, and the effect is more obvious. When you chant aloud, you are relying on the sound to focus, and it will allow your mind to focus so that it's not so distracted and wander, so it can help you to focus. And this continual focus can be more prolonged. For silent chanting, the benefit is that you can do it at any time, which also means that it requires a certain degree of stability or focus. So if you already have a certain level of focus, then you can recite silently. But those who are new beginners, it might not be so suitable. When chanting Buddha names, there are a few methods. Depending on your circumstances or your venue, your location, or your state of mind, your cultivation level, you can adjust. It's not fixed whether you have to chant it aloud or chant it silently. If you're by yourself, you can chant it aloud or silently. Both are fine, depending on your personality or habitual preference. If people who are more introverted might recite silently, extroverted people might recite it aloud. If you're in a public place, you can't really chant it very loudly. Maybe you recite it in a more quietly, or if you're on a plane, of course you can't chant aloud because you would disturb other people, so you would chant silently. So it depends on the location, where your circumstances. And also depending on your state of mind, your personality. For example, myself, when I was young, I had very good energy levels, and from the start to the end of the practice, I didn't need to, I would be silent, and I felt that the mind was much faster, but when we speak aloud, it requires a lot of effort, and it's also it's also much slower. But now I find that before I sleep, following Grandmaster's example, I would do the Bardo Deliverance of the Thousand Vessels. But at 2 a.m. in the morning, when you're trying to practice, if you don't chant aloud, you will realize that it's very easy to become distracted, or your mind would wander. And the moment I realized I was beginning to do that, Grandmaster mentioned that sometimes he would fall asleep. If you're doing your practice in the middle of the night, your attention is harder to focus. So instead of silently chanting, I would start to recite aloud. When you're reciting aloud, you will realize that it will prevent your mind from wandering, so it's easier to focus. So whether or not to recite aloud or silently depends on your mental state, on the circumstances, and also your level of cultivation, which stage you're at. Are you at a high level of cultivation, like Grandmaster or Buddhas, Bodhisattvas? It's all dependent on your own individual state. So it's not dependent on just chanting aloud. So summary, there is no difference between chanting aloud or chanting silently. The key is your mind fully focused on the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. Any method, as long as it's able to allow our speech and mind to integrate, that's one suitable. It's the quality of that chanting, your attention, the focus on your continual focus on the Buddha's Bodhisattvas, that's more important than the actual method. So the answer is 333. Both chanting aloud and chanting silently are fine. So now everyone knows? Okay, so no one gets chant silently. Okay, so today's class is about the origins and merits of the Dharma gate of food offering rites, and this is the 12th lesson. So from the 12th to 24th lesson, about 95% of the lessons are related to food offering. So we definitely need to first introduce its origin, the origins of food offering. From the 14th lesson is about the noon offering. The 15th and 16th lesson is about the evening recitation, and also the grand offering before the Buddhas. It's also related to that. For the longevity and Bardo deliverance altars, those lessons, the practical and the theory. There is also the food transformation mantra, 辨识成年, which is the most important journey in food offering. And in the yoga flaming mouth ritual, it also has the food transformation mantra. So if we don't know what is food offering, 施食, then the noon offering, the evening ritual, recitation, the yoga flaming mouth, and it's like if you don't know what you are actually doing and you are just following the outward ritual procedure, you are not able to give rise to the true energy of the effect of the ritual, and it will not be beneficial to your own cultivation or be able to help other people. So we'll talk about the origin and merits of the food offering this lesson, and the next lesson will be about the methods to carry out the food offering. So let's start with the preface or the introduction, the necessity and significance of food offering. In the Sutrayana tradition, the morning meal ceremony, midday meal, evening service, they all contain the Dharma gate or method of food offering rites. But it's common to see in actual practice that practitioners, because they lack proper understanding of the meaning and significance of 施食, the food offering, so they make mistakes. So one, they don't know what it actually means. So once I went to a cultivation venue to do the yoga flaming mouth ritual as part of their Zhongyuan festival, and I asked who is the one who is performing the food offering, and they found two young people, 20 plus people, and I hesitated and I asked them, have you ever done food offering before? They both replied no. And so if they don't have actual experience, then how do they carry out food offering? If you only know that you have to scatter food during that sequence, during the Dharma ceremony, you don't know what mantra to chant, what visualization to visualize, then how do you actually carry out the food offering? Then it becomes superficial, formalistic, and it gives rise to the fault of treating the Buddha Dharma negligently. And at the end, I decided to ask a reverend to help. I could only ask a reverend to lead them out to do the food offering. The next problem is that there are mistakes in the shu and the formal prayer of intent. So the food offering is to offer food to hungry ghosts, which sounds the same as evil ghosts. It's a Chinese character, is different. So sometimes the shu and the formal prayer of intent is wrongly it's instead of hungry ghosts, they mistakenly wrote evil ghosts. So the whole meaning of the prayer of intent is wrong. So I asked I asked about this, and the cultivation venue has been in operation for many decades, and yet this person was absolutely clueless that there was a mistake in the formal prayer of intent. So if you don't know what is the meaning of the food offering, then all these mistakes will arise. How can hungry ghosts be liberated if food is not offered in accordance with Dharma? How will it be able to allow the hungry ghosts or the spirits to be filled or satiated by the taste of Dharma, be refreshed and nourished, and be liberated from the suffering of rebirth in the low realms? Where does the merit of food offering come from? If it's not done in accordance with the Dharma, then how can there be any merit to dedicate to temple donors, the devotees attending the Dharma ceremonies, or the spirits being delivered? So we do need to know what food offering is all about, have a proper understanding. And next lesson, we will teach a Grandmaster's simple method of food offering, 世 to extend longevity and have sufficient blessings and merit to dedicate. So there are certain scriptural references. There are three in particular. The subject of food offering includes the Garuda and also ghosts and spirits, Rakshasa and Hariti. So in this Pan Nie Pan Jing Xuan 第16, so 16th scroll of the sutra, the ghosts rely on blood and flesh to survive. But now that they receive precepts from the Buddha, how will they survive in the future? So the Buddha issued an instruction that where there is Dharma, the food offering rite needs to be carried out. So monastics need to abide by this precept that every day they will perform food offering to ghosts and spirits in the wilderness. If there are those who don't perform this food offering rite, then they are not my disciples, but they're relatives of the Mara. So the Buddha set this precept for food offering for monastics to bestow food to ghosts and spirits. So this is this signifies its importance, and also where there is the Dharma, then there is food offering. If someone is performing food offering, then it means that the Dharma abides here. And there are those visible or invisible beings who receive the benefits of Dharma, so it's foundational to the presence of the Dharma. The second scriptural reference is from the sutra related to the Dragon King, and you would know that the Garudas and they would feed on the dragon kings. So the dragon kings went to the Buddha, and they told the Buddha that there are 4 kinds of Garudas that constantly feed on the dragons. So the Buddha took off his precepts robe and said that you can take this robe and distribute it among all the dragon kings. If you receive even a single thread or a small piece of the cloth, then the Garudas will not be able to eat you. And the Garudas were alarmed, so because they don't have any dragons to eat. So the dragon kings are like strands of noodles. What did the Buddha say? There are 4 kinds of food or 4 kinds of methods that you can obtain the food, which will cause you to fall into the lower realms. So the Garuda, after hearing the Buddha's teachings, said, okay, then in the future I will take refuge in the triple gem, and I will repent for our previous karmic offenses. We will abide by the precepts and allow the dragons to not live in fear due to the Garudas, and also uphold and support the Dharma. So the Garuda fed upon the dragons that is harming the living beings. But the Buddha, by using his robe, protected the dragons and led the Garudas to take refuge in the 3 rituals. So from harming sentient beings, the Garudas became protectors of the Dharma. So the food offering is also food offering to the Garudas. The 3rd sutra, next slide, is the most important sutra that supports the food offering rite. The Buddha speaks on the Dharani that saves the hungry ghost flaming mouth. So the Yu Jia Yan Kou actually refers to the name of the hungry ghost, which is flaming mouth. So Yan Kou, flaming mouth, is the name of the hungry ghost. So when we do the Yu Jia Yan Kou, the yoga flaming mouth ritual, we are actually bestowing food, offering food to hungry ghosts. So the hungry ghost told Ananda that 3 days later your life will end and you will be born among the hungry ghosts. So Ananda was very alarmed and asked the hungry ghost, "What can I do?" So the ghost told him, "Tomorrow, if you're able to make offerings to innumerable hungry ghosts and Brahmin ascetics, then you can extend your lifespan, and I can also be freed from the hungry ghost realm." So Ananda quickly ran to the Buddha to ask for help, to seek help. And the Buddha taught him the Dharani, taught a mantra or Dharani, which has a long name, but the short name is called the Food Transformation Mantra. So in a previous lifetime, the Buddha was a Brahmin ascetic, and at the place of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, he learned this Dharani that allows him to make offerings to countless hungry ghosts and Brahmin ascetics. So now today you learn this mantra, you'll be able to prolong your lifespan. And what is this mantra? Okay, that's the mantra. And the words are slightly different. It's okay. That was the words that they recorded, but it's the food offering, food transformation mantra. So when is this food offering carried out? Some people think it's afternoon, some people say it's at night, some people say it's in the middle of the night. The Buddha said every day in the morning or at all times it can be done, it can be carried out. It's okay. You just take a cup of clean water, put a little bit of rice, greens, or noodles, or even biscuit crumbs, and you recite that Dharani just now and 7 times, and you chant the names of 4 Buddhas. This is what was mentioned in the scriptures. Recite mantra 7 times and recite the names of 4 Tathagatas. So there are 4 Tathagatas mentioned. 多宝如来, which is Prabhupada, Rana, Tathagata, and Myaoseshan is Surupakaya Tathagata. The second circle, that Myaoseshan Rulai, wondrous body Tathagata.
本来甘露水真言后面还有哈，我再念一遍。
Behind the Isn't this the Amrita mantra that we are familiar with? So this is only the first half. What is behind? It means the front half of that Amrita mantra it's actually referring to Surupakaya Tathagata, a wondrous body Tathagata. And through this Buddha's empowerment, it can allow hungry ghosts to be freed from their ugly forms and have magnificent appearance of a good form. So in this sutra, it also describes the Amrita mantra. The front half is a reference to Myaoseshan Rulai Surupakaya Tathagata. From Om, that's the main body of the Amrita mantra. So when we recite the Amrita mantra, commonly during the grand offering before Buddhas and also the longevity altar, etc. Whose mantra is this? From this you can see that it's the mantra of Myaoseshan Rulai Surupakaya Tathagata. So remember, the Amrita mantra is the mantra of Surupakaya Tathagata. So now we know what the Amrita mantra is all about. So after reciting the mantra 7 times and also chant the names of 4 sacred names of 4 Tadakatas, then the hungry ghosts can be satiated and they can depart from their hungry ghost form and be reborn in the heavens. The next slide. If there are Buddhas, bhikkhus or bhikkhunis who so a question here is, can only Sangha do this or can it be carried out by laity? Yes, the householders can also carry this out. They can also carry out the food offerings, so it's not just limited to monks. And the recipients of the food offering, look at the circles. You are offering food to hungry ghosts. And the second category of recipient is you are offering to Brahmin ascetics, and the third category would be you're offering to Buddhas, Dharma, and Sangha. So the people who are giving, they will be replete in blessings and virtue and increase in lifespan, and they will not be harmed by ghosts. So these are the benefits of doing the food offering. If you are offering to ghosts, you just need to recite it 7 times. If you recite it 14 times, then you are offering to Brahmin ascetics, and then you toss it into clear water. The Brahmin ascetics will be able to become spiritually accomplished, and they will also support the giver to become spiritually accomplished, and they will not be harmed by enemies or karmic predators. And the third category of recipients is we are offering to the triple gem of Buddha, Dharma, and Sanghas. So if you empower with mantra 21 times, isn't this like the grand offering before Buddhas? Different recipients, but we all need to recite the food transformation mantra. And after offering to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Sangha, they will praise the giver, and the giver will also be protected by the Devas, and the giver will also be able to fulfill their dana paramita, the paramita of generosity. And flaming mouth hungry ghost. This hungry ghost called Flaming Mouth appeared to warn Ananda, and the Buddha issued this instruction to liberate the hungry ghosts, to offer to the hungry ghosts and help them be liberated and be reborn in the heavens. And the givers can also benefit by increasing their blessings and lifespan, and so it's innumerable, immeasurable benefits, merits. So in the sutras, the people or their beings that are mentioned. So this hungry ghost called Flaming Mouth, what is this hungry ghost's name? We often hear of Shi Yankou and Fang Yankou. Now we know this Yankou is actually referring to the name of the name Flaming Mouth of this hungry ghost. So Flaming Mouth is the catalyst who caused Ananda to run to who alerted Ananda that he was about to fall into the hungry ghost realm. And this hungry ghost also manifested the suffering of the hungry ghost realm. And there is mention of benefits to both the giver as well as the recipient. Ananda manages to increase his lifespan, and Flaming Mouth, the ghost, the recipient, will also be able to be reborn in the heavens. So there is also the conditions for seeking the Dharma. There is also mention of the food transformation mantra as well as all Tathagatas. So this food transformation mantra contains the divine power of all Tathagatas. And let's analyze the structure of this food transformation mantra. The first half is similar to the Surupa Kaya Tathagatas. The first half is a reference to Surupa Kaya Tathagata. From Om, the second half is the main body of the mantra. So the first half, what is it referring to? From Namo is refuge. Look at the Sawa is all. Walutsiti is about contemplation or at ease. Then the previous line, the third part is a reference to Tathagata. So for the Amrita mantra, we know that it's Subrakaya Tathagata's mantra. What about the food transformation mantra? Whose mantra is it? Because of Walutsiti, it's related to Avalokiteshvara. Guanzizai, perfect ease. It's related to the vows of great compassion. Sawa Dantai Yedo is all Tathagatas. You are invoking all Tathagatas and Avalokiteshvara's compassion. This is the meaning of the mantra. The second, the meaning is referring to 世间自在威德如来. This is, it's not actually just referring to this particular Buddha, but it's actually referring to all Buddha's great compassion, their majestic virtues, the overall encompassing manifestation of all these Buddhas. So, conclusion or summary of the Dharma meaning is that you are sincerely taking refuge in all the Tathagatas of all 10 directions, and all these Tathagatas are replete in compassion as well as majestic virtues. The second half of the mantra, as mentioned, this is the main body of the mantra from Om. The front, if it's starting from Namo, it might be a reference to a Buddha or a refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. In the Hiking Sutra, there's Namo Buddha, Namo Dharma, Namo Sangha. Here, it's refuge in all Tathagatas of the 10 directions. But there is also a connection between Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva and also the 世间自在威德如来 Tathagata. Next slide. The food offering rite. So we know that, okay, maybe you don't know yet, but who is the main deity? Here, I've already reviewed that the food offering ritual has its Idam deity as Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. So scriptural references or mentions in the temple when we did the noon offering or the evening recitation or we all didn't know that there was actually an Idam deity for all these rituals. We thought that just chanting the ritual procedures would be sufficient. We didn't go and research who was the Idam deity. But Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva is the main deity for all these rituals. And at that time, when I found the information, I had to find scriptural evidence who is the main deity for these.法脉传承, the lineage of the Dharma transmission, there is a sutra that mentions the Buddha was explaining its origin, that in a previous lifetime as a Brahmin ascetic at the place of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, I learned this food transformation mantra from the Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. The next sutra that has mentioned is from this bestowing hungry ghosts with Amrita flavor sutra. So abbreviated, the sutra is called Amrita Flavor Sutra. It is the embodiment of great compassion. The Buddha mentions that if one performs this rite, you are aligned with Avalokiteshvara's great compassion, the vow of great compassion. And the second point is that you are actualizing Avalokiteshvara's conduct, and the main deity of the mandala or the altar is that in the center of the mandala, enshrine an image of the Buddha or Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. So it indicates that this Dharma practice, the central figure of this Dharma practice is Avalokiteshvara. So it's not clearly mentioned that who it is, but it is the Buddhas or Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva who is one of the central figures for this Dharma practice. The last point is that when the Buddha was expounding this Bodhisattva called Yue Ai, or literally moon love, this Bodhisattva gave praise after hearing this, that Avalokiteshvara of great compassion, with the voice of Kalavinka, with manifold skillful speech and expressions, expounds the Dharma of Amrita. So in these two sutras, there is evidence that proves Avalokiteshvara is the main deity of this food offering ritual, or it could also, or one of the central figures related to this. The front part of the mantra, you are taking refuge in all the Tathagatas, and the second half of the mantra is the main body of the mantra. This is the food transformation mantra with Avalokiteshvara as the main deity of this mantra. We can't just chant the mantra without knowing whose mantra it is. So this is a very important point. The next slide, I went to look for research whether Grandmaster mentioned this food transformation mantra, who is it connected with. And in this book, 290, Grandmaster had a dialogue with the scorched face Ghost King. And above the head of the scorched face Ghost King is the white-robed Avalokiteshvara Mahasava. So the scorched face Ghost King, or also known as the scorched face Mahasava, is an emanation of Avalokiteshvara. And so this Jiaomian scorched face Ghost King is actually also flaming mouth, the hungry ghost flaming mouth. So Grandmaster saw the scorched face Ghost King transforming into Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva and flying into the vast expanse of space. So in Dharma ceremonies, why does Grandmaster teach us that yoga, flaming mouth, Dharma ceremonies, we need to enshrine the scorched face Goski image. The reason is because the flaming mouth symbolizes hungry ghosts. We know that the hungry ghost referred to just now is the hungry ghost its name is flaming mouth, and it was due to this affinity or this condition that allowed this Dharma practice to be taught by the Buddha to the sentient beings of the Sahara world. So this is an important point. And the second scriptural evidence is in his discourse compilation 625, Grandmaster teaches the secret to food offering. When the Amrita transforms to food offerings, visualize Avalokiteshvara with the purification vase and the willow branch in the right hand, and Avalokiteshvara slightly shakes the purification vase, and the Amrita sprinkles onto the practitioner's cup of the clean cup, and then the practitioner sprinkles out the Amrita. So Grandmaster is invoking Avalokiteshvara. So the food offering has Avalokiteshvara as the main deity. The benefits and the merits and benefits, we can skip this. Okay, never mind. Let me just let's go back and talk a little bit about it. When we remember Moggallana's story, although he is number one foremost in supernatural power, he was not able to save his mother who had fallen into the hungry ghost realm. And the mother, when he tried to offer food, all the food turned into flames. So he had to depend on all the rest of the Sangha by making offerings to all the Sangha in order to accumulate the merit. So just supernatural power itself is not sufficient to save the hungry ghost. You have to rely on, it's not an easy task to save hungry ghosts. You have to rely on the power of all Tathagatas, the triple gem, the three jewels. So the front part of the mantra is we are relying on their power, their supernatural power of all Tathagatas to accomplish this offering. So in this other sutra that talks about the food transformation mantra, by making offerings to countless hungry ghosts and Brahmin ascetics, this is, as mentioned just now, they can be liberated from the realms and be reborn in the heavens. So the first column talks about the recipients of the food offering. The second column from the left is about the benefits to the recipients. And then the third column from the left is benefits to the giver. And the fourth column is how should we go about this to empower or bless the food according to scriptural references. So the first recipient is hungry ghosts and Brahmin ascetics, the various ghosts, and as mentioned just now, the Brahmin ascetics, and then the triple gem, or the three jewels. Then the second column talks about the benefits to the recipient. If you have time, if you would like to read it, you can look at it, the table. The Chinese handouts are uploaded onto the TBSOU Online University's website. The handouts are uploaded there. So if you recite the Dharani, if you are offering to hungry ghosts, recite it 7 times. If you're offering to Brahmin ascetics, recite it 14 times. If you're offering to the three jewels, recite it 21 times. Recite the food transformation mantra 21 times. So in this sutra, Great Dharani Sutra, of offering amrita to hungry ghosts. The first part of the mantra is mentioned, Namo Sulupoya is a reference to Namo Surupakaya Tathagata. There is no Om here, but it's missing a little part of the mantra, but this mantra, the first paragraph, it's in bold, and it talks about reciting the mantra 7 times. Visualize your left hand, white-colored milk is flowing out from fingers, the left hand's fingers, and the various ghosts, upon receiving this milk, it can be satiated, and they will, and those who perform this mantra will be benefit. They will be respected by various people. They will have a good form and appearance. They will, those who perform the food offering and recite the food transformation mantra, they can have these 16 benefits. So Grandmaster actually performs or carries out the food offering every day, and I mentioned, and I have listed all the merits. So Grandmaster has a very busy schedule every day, but he still does the food offering every day. So why does he do this? It shows that it's very important. This food offering is very important, and he does it every day. So people don't pay attention, and you may have missed a lot of opportunities. There are 3 great accomplishments in Tantrayana: mantra recitation, Homa, and also Samadhi. So Homa is doing great offering, but in a lot of homes, you're not able to do Homa, which is great offering. But actually, this food offering, right, is also a great form of offering. It's equivalent to offering to countless Tathagatas. If you're not able to do homas, you just need to do this 5-minute ritual of food offering. So food offering is not a small dharma, it's a great dharma. So there are 5 great benefits. It will allow you to have a perfect form, and you will increase in Dharma power. You will be supported by ghosts and spirits. You can prolong your lifespan. The 4th is your disasters will reduce and everything will be peaceful and auspicious. The 5th is that you will have unhindered eloquence. Your wisdom will increase. So I found 5 categories of benefits. The 5 ticks at the bottom: increase in good karma and good affinities. Number 2 is reduce hindrances and avert disasters. 3rd is increase in Dharma power. The 4th is something I never imagined or thought of, which is that is the foundation or root of all accomplishment. The 5th is delivering all beings. A is 施福护财. Those who don't have any money, you need to learn how to give food or transform food to hungry ghosts and rakshasas. Those who are poor, you need to do food offering. Number 2 is learn to offer food to Sangha. And number 3 is learn to perform properly the yellow Jambalas ritual procedure. Someone asked, is there a benefit to food offering? The Grandmaster replied, when you treat people with the 4 immeasurables of loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, Buddhas and Devas will all be very happy. For ghosts and Garudas, when they don't have anything to eat when they're hungry, then they will harm beings. But when there is amrita and there are people offering food to them, then they will not harm other people. So this will cause the Buddhas and the Devas to be happy. And C, you will be supported by ghosts and spirits. So even if you don't attain Buddhahood, you will still be supported by ghosts and spirits. Our karma, some of that might cause us to fall into the lower realms of hungry ghosts, animals, or hell. When the time comes, the affinity ripens, we have to face the karmic retribution when the time comes. So, however, if you do food offering, even if you fall into the lower realms, you will still be treated as important or distinguished guests. So sometimes some of the karma cannot be fully removed. We may need to face some of their karmic retribution for transgressions that we committed in the past. However, if you do the food offering, it will reduce or diminish the impact of that. Now D, you can accumulate resources. When the ghosts and spirits receive your offerings, they will reward you. They will pay you back with rewards. You are just offering food, biscuits, and rice, water, but when they give back to you, it's not just rice and water. It's very great blessings. They will repay you back manifold. E is immeasurable blessing, rewards, and great increase in wealth. When there is offering, the reward will increase greatly. So if you want to be born as a human, and when you stand on a mountain, all the land below will belong to you. So a single item or object can transform into hundreds and thousands or tens of thousands of items. So then your wealth will also increase and will be inconceivable. So one apple transforms into countless apples. One mountain becomes into many mountains of amrita. So one item transforming into a myriad. We also need to remember it's not always rice and water. If you can transform it into, we will talk about this more in the next lesson. F, when you make offerings and establish good affinity, if you often encounter obstacles and setbacks and you don't have a good affinity with other people, when you bestow food, you are establishing kind affinities with many people. And apart from helping yourself, you're helping other people. A lot of other people, sentient beings will come back to help you. And you will encounter less setbacks and less difficulties. So you're not just offering to visible beings, you're also offering to invisible beings. The next great category of removing hindrances and averting or pacifying disasters. Subpoint A, it's sometimes you have nightmares. It might mean that there are Maras causing hindrances. What to do? If you have bad dream, you need to know how to stop or avert. In a sutra, there is mention of 7 ways to prevent karmic hindrances from materializing. So food offering is one of them. The protective wheel and others, reciting mantras, doing the armor protection, invoking white deities, performing homas. These are methods to prevent karmic hindrances from materializing. You're averting disasters. So when you are making offerings to the ghosts and spirits, to Dharmapalas, to Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, they will help you to avert disasters or pacify the disasters. So when you encounter problems, they will help you. The next sub-point is your wishes will be fulfilled. The Dharmapalas, the Devas, the Nagas, the Dragon Kings, they will continually help you so that your wishes can be fulfilled. A lot of karmic hindrances can be removed. And if you do the food offering every day, every single Dharma contains the food offering. For the morning meal ceremony, the noon offering, the evening recitation, all of these contain the food offering. So Grandmaster does the food offering every day. He just does it once because the food offering can avert a lot of karmic hindrances. By doing the food offering, even though he's very busy, but you can perform the food offering every day. But he's very busy, but he does the food offering every day. The ghosts and spirits will help you. Your Dharma power will also increase, and your Dharma power will increase. So, didn't I mention the example just now? 2 young people who are asked to help with the food offering. If they have never performed it before, then where would the power come from? If you do it every day, then you have greater Dharma power to perform this food offering. The more you do this food offering, then your Dharma power will increase. Hungry ghosts, it's not easy to help them because the food can transform into fire and it will cause them. Initially, they will experience a lot of suffering. However, if you're able to transform the food into Amrita, it is refreshing, it is suitable for the hungry ghosts. This is a key point, and they will be able to receive it. So those givers with sufficient Dharma power, they will be able to truly bestow food to the hungry ghosts. So you have to perform this on a regular basis for your Dharma power to increase. And when you perform the mantras, you recite them. When you perform the mudras and recite the mantras, it's also a way to train our focus, concentration. It's like doing homa. One homa can transform into thousands of homas. Can I say this? One homa furnace can transform into thousands of homa furnaces, and the Dharma power will be immense. So when you're training your mind, your concentration, although we're doing offering, the giver can increase in merit and blessings. Next slide. The offering is also the root of all accomplishment. I was really taken aback or stunned by Grandmasters saying this, which is that it's the root of all accomplishment. It can allow you to remove your habitual tendencies or preferences because you have to often visualize yourself, think of yourself as your Idam deity, as the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. And when you are doing this food offering, it can also increase your bodhicitta. You are also wishing not just yourself to attain Buddhahood, but you're also wishing all sentient beings to be able to realize Buddhahood. And when you offer to ghosts and spirits, it will also support the realization of accomplishment, because sometimes these ghosts and spirits will cause obstacles, causing you to not be able to accomplish your spiritual practice. But when you give to them, they will turn around and help you. So you have to offer to them to prevent these obstacles, and you increase your chances of success in spiritual cultivation. The next point, C, is that if you first offer food before you practice Dharma, it will allow you to accumulate the resources for fruition. How do we enter a mandala? How do we purify ourselves? How do we visualize? How do we accumulate the resources for wisdom? When we offer to Buddhas, Dharmapalas, this is inner offering. The outer offering is to ghosts and spirits. You are offering food, then they will not hinder your Dharma practice, and you can practice properly, and it will be a perfect and complete practice. So in the preliminary steps, the beginning sequences of the ritual procedures, there is the Great Mandala offering. So food offering and offering is the root of all accomplishment. To be successful in your practice, in your cultivation, you need to do offering. So by cultivating homa or this food offering, they're all very important. They are the root of all accomplishment. So if you're not able to do homa, then practice food offering. You only need to spend 5 minutes a day, and giving and receiving the equivalent. When you give, you will receive, and you will receive many more times than you give, and you'll be supported by the Dharma protectors, the Nagas and Devas who will come to help you. You will have a lot of supporting affinities, and you have much less obstacles, which will help you to realize accomplishment much more easily. The next main category of delivering sentient beings or delivering beings is you are able to save bardo beings. Grandmaster realized the circumstances of bardo beings who, if Grandmaster doesn't do the food offering, they will fall into the 3 poisons of craving, hatred, and ignorance. So Grandmaster wrote in his book 242, he was doing the food offering, and a voice, this disciple Lianhua Wanjing, after receiving the empowerment of Puba Jinggang Dorje Purba, and at night he performed this food offering and to offer to ghosts, and he saw one night many shadows, and one night he heard this voice saying that we have come to thank you for bestowing this delicious amrita and flavors. So the disciple asked, how is the food empowered by Dorje Parva's mantra good? And the ghost replied that it had a lot of benefits, but however, not everyone's affinity is the same. So just because this disciple had the affinity with Dorje Parva doesn't mean that everyone has the affinity with Dorje Parva. So you don't necessarily need to recite this mantra. It's specific to his case. So when you're offering to the great Garudas, great golden winged Garudas, and ghosts and spirits in the wilderness, Garudas are the Devas. They belong to the heavenly realms, and among the ghosts and spirits, there are also Asuras. So you are already offering to those in the Deva realms, the heaven realms, and also the Ashura realms. So Asuras are after receiving the refreshing nourishment, they will also be delivered or converted. So as long as they are able to receive our offerings and our mantras, you're converting them and helping them. So when we recite mantras, you have to recite it with focus. For the mantra to be efficacious and beneficial to those who are receiving the food offering. So you have to recite the mantras wholeheartedly, recite it with your soul. When you sprinkle the amrita, that is empowerment, blessing, Grandmaster described when we recite the mantra, carrying out the food offering. We will talk about this next week. This is the Amrita mantra of offering to hungry ghosts and spirits. Every time you transform food to fill the empty space, it's not just giving food. Sometimes it's also a form of empowerment, a form of blessing. They will be refreshed. Their spirit will become stable. So food offering is not like what we imagine. You're not just scattering food. You're not just throwing food out. There is also the meaning of empowerment or blessing with Amrita. So Grandmaster, by teaching us this Dharma gate, will allow us to increase our blessings and merits. Your Dharma power will increase. It is the root of all accomplishment, and it can also deliver sentient beings. It's all contained or encompassed within this food offering, right? In the Yogacara, we learn that all your intentions have karmic fruit. They will be contained in our alaya consciousness, our eighth consciousness, the Tathagata consciousness. And at the time when the seeds mature or ripen, you might, unfortunately, you might also fall into the lower realms when the time comes if you have that root or if you planted the seed. But if you do this food offering, then the effect will be reduced or diminished. You are not just the recipient is not just one. You're not just bestowing to one beggar, a single recipient, but every day you are bestowing to countless ghosts and spirits. So you are containing countless karmic seeds of kindness in your alaya consciousness, and you are not just thinking about it, you're actualizing the practice. So all these seeds of virtues, kindness will be planted in your consciousness, and they will ripen into fruits, wholesome fruits of kindness, and you will be rewarded with the blessings and innumerable, countless good karma, the fruits of good karma. You will receive that reward in future. So the food offering is an important Dharma ritual of great compassion to benefit sentient beings, and it has benefits to both the recipients as well as to the giver. So those who receive, who are able to be satiated by the Dharani empowered food and the Amrita, they will be able to depart from the scorching afflictions, and they will increase in good roots, wholesome roots, and they will also be able to unravel knots of enmity. Those who receive, the givers will also reduce in karmic obstacles. Their negative affinities will reduce. They will increase merits and resources. So the Dharma power cannot be accomplished in one single day. It needs continual practice, and we need to follow Grandmaster's example of doing this on a daily basis to increase your compassion, accumulate blessings and virtues to accomplish the Bodhi path. If you know but you don't do it, then you will not be able to succeed in your practice as well. So that is the start of our introduction to this food offering rite today, and we'll continue next lesson, talk about the 5-minute practice that you can carry out on a daily basis, and that's the end of our introduction today. Amitabha, thank you, Master Lian Wei, for your detailed lesson, and it was a really beneficial, rewarding, such as the first point about. So there's actually a main deity of the food offering, which is Avalokiteshvara. Can everyone hear my voice? So next, let's go into the question and answer segment of the lesson, and let's take a look at the questions that we have collected today. The first question is from Lianhua Yiyu. During the bathing Buddha, can two people do the food offering together? One person holds the knife in hand and the other person holds the water. Do they both come out and then the one holding the knife in hand holds it to the brow point? If we don't use the knife in hand, can one person carry out this ritual? This is quite a complicated question. So this question is bathing the Buddha is bathing the Buddha, and then food offering is food offering. Is the person asking about grand offering before the Buddhas? The next lesson we'll talk about the food offering during the noon offering and the evening recitation. During the noon offering at Taiwan Leicang Temple, there will be the use of the ritual implements, the knife and the hand, these ritual implements. And I mentioned I asked the Taiwan Temple reverends to take a video of how they carry out the noon offering. So I won't talk about it. I won't answer this question now, but you can look at the video later on. For the evening recitation, so during the noon offering, because there's rice and vegetables, they use the knife and hand ritual implements. But for the evening recitation, they will use a cup with water and also rice grains. I also asked Taiwan Leicang Temple's reverends to help take a video, and you can see we'll talk about this in a later class. So it's not really appropriate for me to go over this now because we haven't learned the necessary parts yet, because we're jumping the gun or jumping ahead to other parts. So I will answer this question later on. You will know after the end of the related lessons. So the next question is also from the same Dharma sister. Do we first visualize and recite the mantra? Is the mountain of rice to offer to the Garuda and ghosts and spirits, the Dharma milk offering to the dragon kings and dragon relatives? So there are some who say that we visualize the Garuda spreading its wings, covering the sun and flying down from the darkness. Well, the questions show that this Lotus Yiyu, Lianhua Yiyu, is actually performing this ritual. So it shows that this Dharma sister is actually doing this ritual, and if you don't perform this right, you wouldn't have any questions. So just now it's mentioned that during the noon offering, the recipient is the Garudas and the When we perform the food offering, we need to know how to do the food transformation. You're not holding any milk. So how do you transform the food offering? How do you visualize and recite mantra or the verse at the same time? When you're reciting this verse, you can recite the verse when you recite to the point of the great golden winged Garuda, you can visualize. For mantra, you visualize first and then recite mantra. But for a verse, while you're reciting the verse, you can invoking who you're reciting. So you can pause slightly to visualize. So during the next lesson, we'll go over this in greater detail. So this 莲花一语 it shows that 莲花一语 is performing this practice. The next question from Dharma assistant 莲花彩虹 is the food offering supposed to be carried out every day? What happens if we're going on pilgrimage? So these are practitioners because it shows that you do this. So I will answer this during the next lesson. Apart from teaching the food offering, there are also many details related to the practical implementation. For example, if you're going out the next few days, I will not be here the next few days. I will continue after I come back from which and which day. If you forget, you can you can inform the deities enshrined at the altar and for them to convey your message that you'll not be around. You can give advance notice, apply for leave. You can apply for leave. So next question from Dharma Sister Xiaoming. I don't have a cultivation venue. If I do this food offering, do I do this at home? And the country I live, there are not many other Buddhist practitioners. Will it affect the neighbors? It's good that all these questions shows that you're thinking about this. If there's a window or balcony, you can do it at the window and balcony and scatter the food outside. Even if you don't have an altar, you can do this. I will go over this in detail. I do it at a window. I live in an apartment so there's no balcony. So I don't have a backyard. So I do it at the window. The next question. Very good. These questions. The next question is my question when we're doing the food offering. We might forget it if we're outside and doing something. And what if we can't do the food offering at the same time every day? And you might feel a little bit of obstacles. How should we do this? How should we solve this problem? Sometimes we go out and we come back at different times. For example, if I'm going out, so if you know that you're going out the next day and you know that you'll come back later, you can inform in advance. So usually I will perform it at 5 p.m., similar to the time that Taiwan Lizang Temple does it. So for example, if I know I'm coming back at 10 p.m. the next day, then I will inform in advance that I'm coming back at 10 p.m. The next day, and then I'll carry it then. So if you feel that your obstacles arise after you start carrying out the food offering, why is it that these karmic hindrances? This is a question that I will answer based on Grandmaster's writings or teachings in the next lesson. How can we reduce these obstacles that appear? So I'll answer all these questions in the next lesson. Okay, so let's move forward to the next class. Are there other questions?
还有吗？还有问题吗？很多都是下礼拜啦。
A lot of these questions will be answered during the next lesson. Because there will be several lessons that are related to the noon offering or the evening recitation. And so after the lessons, you will have a much deeper understanding of these rituals. The next question is how does one increase one's Dharma power for beginners so that beginners will not just be carrying out the rituals in a formalistic, superficial manner. During the next lesson, we'll talk about how do we carry it out. For example, the cultivation venue chairperson who asked two young people to come. They don't even know how to recite mantras or what are the mantras to chant, and they only know to throw the food out. You know that when you're reciting the food transformation mantra, we need to invoke Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva and invoke all the Tathagatas. If you are chanting the Amrita mantra, you need to think of Subhakaya Tathagata. So when your intent is there, the energy will transform. Then it will not just be superficial. It will not just be formalistic. There is the mantra power. There is transformation, visualization. You are truly invoking the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, the Tathagatas. Then there will be power. But how do we do this? We will cover this in more detail during the next lesson. At the beginning, because you're not familiar with the procedure, so the power will be reduced. But when you're familiar with practice, your power will increase because you can focus more. The food transformation mantra. I've heard Grandmaster's mantra. He recites ya. So do we need to change our mantra, how we pronounce the mantra? During the previous lesson about the lineage of mantras, we need to, whether Tibetan or Indian mantras, there's no way to verify. We just base it on how our guru recites it. If guru recites it in a particular way, then we will recite it according to how our guru recites it because it is a lineage mantra and there will be lineage blessing. Even if it's so-called not correct, there is lineage blessing. There is no there is no way to argue with that. So when you recite with Grandmaster's voice in your mind, there will be Grandmaster's blessing. So however Grandmaster recites the mantra, we just follow, we just change, adapt, and follow Guru's mantra pronunciation. So tonight's lesson is a really important lesson. If there are no further questions from the backend team, then that's the end of our class tonight. And we thank Master Liang Wei for her detailed elucidation, for her detailed explanation and research. And we thank the Indonesian interpreter, Dharma assistant Tu Cheng, and all the backend team and volunteers helping out behind the scenes, and all the Pama Kumars, Dharma siblings attending that class. And now you can adjust your clothing, your attire, and let's count down from 10 and take a group photo with Master Liang Hui. So remember to turn on your video camera. See Master Liang Hui. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, is it done? Thank you, everyone. And now all of you can turn on your microphones to unmute your microphones to say goodbye to Master Liang Wei, or you can type in 666 to thank her for her
谢谢两位
lesson.
上师，
Thank you, Master Liang
那首
Wei,
歌，
for your
感
class.
谢，
谢谢
两位
两位上
上师，
师，
两位上师，
在
两位上师，
谢谢大家，
上师，
感恩
谢谢
我们的
上师，
上
谢谢
各位上师，谢谢罗比教，谢谢大家，拜拜。
谢谢感恩
两位
三个感恩，
上师，
好，谢谢两位上师，谢谢
非
两位上
常重要啊，
师，
非常这课讲的非常的重
两位
要。
上师，感恩谢谢两位上师，谢谢两位上师，谢谢两位上师，
上师要再
谢谢
见，
上师。
拜拜拜拜，
谢
大爷再
谢上司，
见。
拜拜。要，谢谢那位上司，谢谢那位上司哦，
感恩上师，
感恩上司，
感谢联
谢谢那位
合三
上司，
感
感
恩上
谢联合上师，要拜
非常健
拜，
康。
拜拜。
上课好，再见喽，下个礼拜见喽，拜拜喽，
谢谢那位上司，
拜拜。谢谢谢谢，感
谢谢上
恩
司，
感恩。
感恩谢谢那位上司，谢谢那位上司，
谢谢上师，要拜拜。
有 VM 都没有。